What is going on, everybody? It is your boy PTK Blam back with another episode of the Shop Podcast, and this is not just a regular fucking episode. This is probably the best episode we're gonna have since I've been back doing the podcast. So once again, if it's your first time here, guys, please like, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys all for rocking out with us this Saturday. I want to dive right into this shit because I got two individuals here that have not been on my podcast in a little while. These are really two huge friends of mine. They're big YouTubers, big in the Xbox community, big in game. If you don't know who they are, you've probably been under a fucking rock the last 2 years. We gonna go ahead and let them start off, as I always do. Let them know where you guys are at. So we're gonna start with the albino rhino himself over there counting the green M&Ms,
hey,
green Skittles, whatever. All right, go ahead and give yourself a shout out, Crap.
Hey man, what's up? It's Crap Gamer Reviews. You know, you got M&C flavor in here today, which is funny because me and Mooch have been doing these guest appearances where we didn't know the other one was going to be a guest on there as well. So it's kind of funny that
he pulled a fast one on us.
I did.
Yeah. Just like what was it last week? I think Xbot did the same thing. He goes, "Hey, Crap, can you be on the next podcast?" And I was like, "Sure." And then like a couple days later, I found out that Mooch was on there too. And I'm happy to be here, man. It's been a while, and I remember I asked you, I was like, "Your show's the one that's only an hour, right?"
Yeah.
the only ones that are not are the ones I'm on.
Yeah,
like,
pretty much.
Man, my
That's
ass
true.
just by the end of the day, man, it's crazy.
That is absolutely true. Any show Mooch ass has been on is at least been about $120 for sure.
It's
at
true.
least so
Minimum.
True. The minimum for sure.
Quality time.
We're going to go ahead and roll on the Mooch too, man. Go ahead and give yourself a shout out, brother. It's been a long time coming.
It has been a minute, PTK. Listen, it's unusual giving a shout out in the beginning, but I'll do that. You know, Mooch likes to promote the Mooch. Of course, at BLAM everywhere, YouTube and Twitter. But, it's good to be here, man. PTK and I, right when I was just kind of getting my feet wet with BGST, me and PTK used to play Titanfall pretty much every single night. So our relationship started with gaming. You know, and then this whole podcast world kind of came about after that. So, PTK, it's really good to be back on the show. And I apologize if anybody wanted a short night. It's not going to be one. So I already said that in advance.
All right. So
I already got my dinner right next to me. Don't worry.
Got the dinner. Got the slippers. Matter of fact, I'm in the bathroom recording this, by the way. So I'm going to take a bath as soon as we get done. Nice. But anyway, let's go ahead and roll over to some of the usuals here. Fuzzy, go ahead and give yourself a shout out, brother.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Fuzzy Belvedere here. Glad to be here. Some pretty big celebrities, some pretty cool guests as well, and some regulars that are pretty cool as well. So honored to be here and in you guys' presence. Hey, just let's talk some games.
Well, actually, the only celebrity here is Crap.
Yeah, me, man. The Johnny podcast up in here. Let's go.
Yeah. Actually, just to be factual about it, Crap is really the only celebrity.
I'm a celebrity in my own mind, man. I got my M&Ms here. I got my, I got my Gatorade. I'm kicked back. It's all good, man. I'm happy. You know what the funny thing is? I think this might be the first time I've actually got to hang out with Fuzzy. He's a huge supporter of mine. Like he's one of the only people that'll like all my videos. Like they show up in the feed and I'll retweet them and stuff. So that's always appreciated, man. It's cool to actually be doing a show with you for a change, man. I appreciate it. It's awesome.
Very cool, Fuzzy.
Awesome. Thank you.
No problem, man.
Awesome. The boy Gaming Forte, go and get.
Yo, man. First of all, appreciate the invite as usual. The shop is going to be hot today. We got to get fire extinguishers up in here. We got to make sure the paparazzi aren't overtaking the block because we got two of the hottest people in the community in here with us. Definitely looking forward to hanging out with them today. Always hanging out in their chats on M&C. So let's get this party going, man. I really appreciate the invite to actually be a part of this, though.
Not a problem, brother. And last but not least, the newest member of the Shop Podcast. Go ahead and give yourself a shout out, Zalker.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Saving the best for last, I can tell. Thank you. Glad to be on. It's my first episode being a permanent member. It's freaking awesome. BLAM and me, we had good chemistry. Everybody on the panel, good chemistry. We're going to have a great night. It's good to have Crap and Mooch on here. It's going to be a great time, guys, everybody.
All right, man. So let's go ahead and dive in. Let's dive right in, man. I am really hyped for today, man. It's been a long time coming to get these two gentlemen on here. It's been a while. So let's dive in. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was 343 confirming the fact that Halo Infinite takes place right after Halo 5. So essentially, it's Halo 6, and they confirmed that on a Mixer stream, I believe, one of the devs confirmed. And I want to get you guys' opinion on that. So we're gonna go ahead and start with you, Crap. Was that what you thought all along? I mean, I know I did essentially after watching the trailer. I figured that was like a follow up. That's where it took place at. But I know a lot of casual people I was seeing on Twitter weren't sure. You know, they were still kind of up in the air. So what is your opinion on that?
You know what? I knew that it was a follow up to Halo 6. I guess it takes place a couple years after Halo 5. They had mentioned previously that they wanted to drop the numbered series, you know, because you don't want to go Halo 10 or Halo 12. You know, just how like Mission Impossible now is like Mission Impossible, Unimpossible, or whatever, you know, they put at the end of the tagline. Now it's just going to be Halo this or with something like that. It's like, and I like that, you know, because it keeps it a little bit fresh. I like what they're doing with Halo Infinite. I think they're going to bring back a lot of people, a lot of fans that maybe kind of given up on the franchise. I like that they're going with a new engine. I like that they're going with kind of going back to the Halo, the whole rings situation and Master Chief. I know some people aren't happy with that, but I like the older school Master Chief look. And, you know, I mean, that was just the early demo. He could still look newer. I don't know. But I do like the fact that they're showing off all this stuff on the screen. You got these animals in this environment, and they could be these lush greeneries and things like that. And so it's very exciting to see. I'm a huge Halo fan. I'm more of a Halo story fan, although I love the multiplayer. I just suck at it. But I'm all in on the story. And I think they're giving me some vibes of that original few Halos. And rumor has it that they're bringing back the original Marty O'Donnell as well to do the score, which, wow. I mean, anybody who's sleeping on this, you know, just wake up, because Halo is going to be back in a big way. Although I'm not a huge fan of it on PC, I'm sure it's going to help it be bigger. And that's going to be a big thing for Microsoft. So very excited. Very excited.
What is your take on, because we talked about this a little bit before when we brought up Halo. Do you think Halo is going to be open world? What's the odds of that happening?
I think it's going to be more open world, because if you go back to some of the original ones, like you had to go back and forth a lot, right? Like it wasn't like fully like a giant world, but it was a sandbox world where you had to go back and forth and do different things. And I think that's what we're going to have here. And there's going to be for the first time in the series, like animals maybe in the world and things like that. So I think they're going to be adding some things, but they're also going to have this feel for the original type of Halos. And I think that's going to be pretty kick-ass. And I'm excited for it, because I like what I saw. I like the direction. They finally seem to have a direction to go in. And maybe that's why it's taken so long to come out. But look, I liked Halo 4 and 5. Halo 4 had a great single player, bad multiplayer. Halo 5 had bad single player, great multiplayer.
Yep.
They're going to bring it together in this next one. And I think that's what they're going for. And I'm excited for it.
I think it's probably dangerous, though, you know, PTK, because I'm okay with them naming it Infinite. And I saw the article that came out and said, you know, basically it's Halo 6. Yeah. See, but the thing about it is that, you know, sometimes sticking with tradition, and I think Crap will agree with this, I would have named it Halo 6. I'm okay with Infinite. That's fine. It's totally fine. I mean, Reach did very well, right? I mean, that did very well. ODST did okay. When you start saying this, you mislead some of the casual Halo fans to thinking that this is a knockoff or a kind of a detour off the main course. And that's the only thing that concerns me about it. I think the new engine's fantastic. I think the fact that Crap is right there, that it'll be semi-open world. I wouldn't exactly say open world, but it'll be semi-open world. I'm very much looking forward to, I'm more interested in the Halo story than the Gears story. But I've always enjoyed Gears multiplayer more than Halo multiplayer. That's a me problem. But I mean, so realistically, I think Halo Infinite is going to be what we all needed. I think they let off E3 the right way, on the right foot. But realistically, I would say there's just a bit of concern there, because the elite, the hardcore are fine with Infinite being the new Halo. But I would have named it 6 just to correct the ship, because 5 kind of left a bad taste in gamers' mouths.
Yeah, I got you. No, that's completely understandable as far as that whole name thing. It can be a little bit misleading if you're not in the know. Like you said, kind of a casual fan. That could be something that throws people off, like the whole Wii U situation. Nobody knew what the Wii U exactly was. They thought it was an add-on, an accessory to the actual regular Wii, even though that's a game and that's a console, two different things. But I understand the name, how that could be kind of an issue. But honestly, I just think that, like, I think it makes sense. I mean, does anybody here think this is the last Halo?
Hell no.
No.
Okay.
bro.
So, all right. So I just wanted to throw that. 'Cause I don't think it is either. So I just wanted to make sure we all on the same page about that. So I think Infinite's a good name. I like the title. I was kind of worried about what they were going to name it for a little while. I wasn't sure what they were going to do. Six to me, I wouldn't mind six either, but I don't know. It just six feels like I don't know, man. Like I think six would have left a bad taste in people's mouth. I think Infinite's kind of cool. It's kind of a rebranding. It's kind of refreshing to have something new. So I don't know.
I just think it's going to open the world up, to be honest with you. Like if they say Halo Infinite for a reason. So I think there's going to be infinite ways you could tackle the story, infinite ways you can tackle bases, because all Halos have been pretty linear lately. And Halo 5, the story mode, I know a lot of people didn't like it. I honestly really didn't mind it. I played it on Legendary with my friends. We beat it in like 4 days. It was a lot of fun. We enjoyed it. And I thought it was pretty epic. There was a lot of epic battles in it that really just caught our attention. But the Locke and the Master Chief fight was like, well, that was a really big letdown. I get that. But I really feel with them showing the animals, showing the world, just like Crap was saying, the environment, it's really going to start diving into the lore a lot more.
That's
Halo.
what I want.
And I don't think people really understand what building a new engine and like really brings to a game. Blizzard, when they brought out StarCraft, they had one of their developers build the entire engine, and he literally just sat in a room for I think it was like 6 to 8 months and made it by himself. Like they just left him there, and it's a huge undertaking, and they needed to do something different, and they decided to go all out with this game, and they were funded pretty well by Microsoft to make it. So a lot of people should be excited for this game because I think it's really going to change Halo and put it in a different light, kind of like God of War was. And I really think people need to be prepared for it to not be the same Halo. I think it's going to be different, but also give you basically reminiscence of what happened before with Combat Evolved. Because if you remember, Combat Evolved was on PC. I played it on PC.
Yeah, originally it was on PC. Yeah,
and that was a fun game. I played on PC and Xbox, but I just think that people are going to be I think they're going to have surprises for us. I think it's going to be a lot different than people think.
For sure. So I want to throw this back to Crap before we get to Fuzzy Gaming. So Crap, what did he? How much of Locke do you think we'll see in this next Halo? You think we're going to see a lot? I think
we're going to see that we'll hear something that he's off doing something or he's dead.
You think so?
Yeah,
Crap, what you're saying is that Locke wouldn't be feeling so good.
No, Locke is not going to be feeling so good. Locke is gone. He's done.
I don't feel so good.
Oh,
sorry,
man.
You think they're just going to leave it? They're not going to
open cinematic of a tomb.
Does anybody really remember what the hell happened to Locke at the end of the 5? I have no clue.
I don't either. I have zero idea.
Just let us be Chief. Let Locke rest in peace. It was a good that whole play is for whatever that didn't really work out. People didn't really remember. They remembered like I remembered Buck because he was in a previous game. He was in ODST, right?
Yeah.
Him. I knew Locke because they kept on pushing Locke, Agent Locke. It's Locke versus Chief. Who's gonna win? And it was like a little bitch slap fight. Right? Like it was terrible. It was terrible. So yeah, just like end that. Let it be just Chief and whatever. And and I think that's the way to go. Like like I said, it was a good try. The actor who was playing him originally, they even took out his voice. So the guy he's molded after or whatever, it isn't even his voice anymore. It's some other guy, and the guy's playing him, I think, is Luke Cage or something, right?
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah. So yeah, just like let it go. That was a good effort. But yeah, like if you wanted to do a spinoff or something, maybe try that. But I think that in terms of Chief and Locke as being buddies or whatever, that doesn't work. Like Arbiter and him were good buddies, but I just don't think him and Locke are going to work out. So I think Locke is gone. I don't think we have to. If you even look at what they're saying at 343, they're like, we hear the feedback. Whoa, you guys want to play as Chief? We get it, So I think Locke,
what's weird about the whole thing? Crap is like whenever you see an interview from somebody at 343, they're like, we are the biggest Halo fans. We grew up with Halo. We love Halo. And all of a sudden they're like, we hear you loud and clear. You want to be Chief? No shit. Who the hell turns? When was the last time you went to go tune into a Superman movie to watch Jimmy Olsen? Get the hell out of here.
Exactly. Imagine,
come on, man.
Imagine a Superman movie where you get, or hey, imagine you go see Star Wars Episode 7 waiting to see Luke Skywalker, and he's only in it for the last 20 seconds. Imagine that.
Exactly. What an upside down industry this movie and gaming shit is. Can we get some? We hear you loud and clear. You want to be chief? Thanks, dude.
What you think? You think? I mean, come on. You know, I mean, come on. Just look. Here's the thing, man. Like, Arbiter was interesting because they built him up first.
Yeah.
You know, so that was interesting. Locke, that they played that really wrong, to be honest with you. Like false advertising.
They could have made it great. They could have made it great.
I was really tough. I was really tough on Microsoft on that. People think I'm not tough on Microsoft. They false advertised that. They built up this big fight. Chief is rogue. Locke is coming after him. Who's gonna win? It's an epic showdown.
It was a huge missed opportunity, right? Like that's all it was. And to be honest with you, I can see why 343 did little changes, why they wanted you to play someone other than Master Chief. I mean, if you look at like Superman, he's so overpowered, right? They didn't want Master Chief to get to the point where he's not relatable or he's not basically able for you to like playing him anymore because you know he's gonna win. Or something's going to happen, and he's just going to be Master Chief. So I get what they did, but man, the execution was just freaking terrible, and it was because of the advertisement, right? Like we were just saying, like it could have been epic. Like you watched the trailers back then, you were like, hey, this looks awesome. Like you're like, I'm damn ready for this.
Zucker, let me interrupt you though for a minute though. It wasn't the advertising. The advertising was actually stellar. You just said it yourself. I tuned into the commercials. That's what I wanted. I mean, a lot of this, really, I got to be honest with you. The hot lamp and the microscope is on Bonnie Ross. Yeah. You know, if she's not, it was the internal that didn't show up for Halo 5. The marketing was spot on. We wanted to see that rogue chief being hunted down by the Supreme Guardian Locke at the time.
Maybe he doesn't make it, right? Because we didn't know. Right? Maybe he doesn't make it. Maybe they're going to go in a different direction after.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The execution, like the execution of the marketing was on point, but the execution of the actual game wasn't. Like honestly, they could have done a damn freaking rock paper scissors game in the game, and it would have been more riveting than what the hell they did.
Yeah, it was a bad.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get Fuzzy in here. I hadn't got to him or Gaming Forte yet, so Fuzzy's kind of a quiet dude, so we're gonna have to make him. But Fuzzy, go ahead and get your opinion out, man. What do you think about the Halo 6 essentially, or Halo Infinite? Sorry, pretty much taking place right after Halo 6.
I'm fine with it. As a new player to Halo, I'm probably the only one here that probably was okay with the Halo 5 story, only because being a new player, that was my first Halo, so it wasn't bad, but I can see why a lot of people have a different view on it, just because if Master Chief being the main focus or the main star of that series, it just didn't, they should have went a different route. That should have been like a side story type of thing as opposed to a numbered series. So with them doing Infinite as Halo 6 essentially, that should be fine. My only fear was whether it was going to be something that would actually be playable this gen, or if it was going to be held until next gen. But if it's playable this gen and they call it Infinite, or if they call it 6, essentially with it being 6, then that's fine. That's perfect.
Cool. All right, Gaming Forte, man. What do you think, brother?
Yo, so being a Halo fan, loving that game to death, I think that this was a really good move, changing and giving it a different subtitle, just because the more you actually concentrate on what the number is, the more times you think of how many times the game has failed versus how many times the game has actually been good. Most people will tell you Halo 3 was probably the last great Halo game, completely forgetting about Reach, because I believe Reach was a good one too. But my biggest thing with Halo is I should never feel like I'm forced to play a single player game just because I'm a true fan of it. And the only reason I beat Halo 4 and Halo 5's campaigns is just because I want to be caught up in the story, not because they were actually really good story missions. They were fine. They served a purpose, but I just want them to do something different. That I want them to be like everybody else. The one thing Halo used to do was just be this grandiose story that was tied to your adventures as Master Chief. And the things that they did was the things that they made on their own. You take all the things they started doing in all the later games, Halo 4, Halo 5, there was like add-ons from other games and
Call
stuff.
of Duty, all
Yeah,
kinds
like
of things,
ordnance drops in Halo 4, loadouts in PS4. I mean, it started with Reach, but we already know Bungie was on their way out of the door right then, and they were kind of using Halo Reach as a test bed for Destiny. So we see what the fruits of why that game turned out the way it did. But I think this is a really good move. I think people are really starving for something that's going to like literally bring them back to Halo, because Halo is by far the biggest franchise that Microsoft has. They need to do something with the lock narrative. They can't just leave it where it is. I do agree with Kraft. They do need to do something and just put him on an island somewhere and forget about him, but they do need to finish out that little story beat that we had at the end of the game.
Locked eyes on the way to his home planet. Sorry.
On his own way to the planet. But the biggest thing that I want to see from Halo, I would say Halo 6, but Halo Infinite is, I'm a huge multiplayer fan. And when it comes to that multiplayer, and I will tell you, Halo 5 is one great multiplayer, but guess how many people actually play it? Not that many people. And it's not because it's not good, it's because it's very hard to get into. They brung high-end MLG players into the game to actually make that multiplayer as good as it is. They built it around the super competitive people. Halo was never built like that. Halo was the game that you would take to your friend's house and carry your Xbox and just play with normal people on a day-to-day basis. And I think over the course of the last 3 games, they really lost that. The game was always built on the stories and what Master Chief was, but it had its sustainability through the multiplayer. And since we haven't had that in the last 3 games, Halo has just seen a slow death over the last 3-4 games. And that's what I really want them to do with this game. Going back and changing the art style of the game is probably one of the best moves they can do, because they're trying to relate to what actually made Halo great back in 2007 all the way up to 2011. So the more they can bring of that game back and relate more to the people like us that grew up with it, will be the number one thing that I think they could do as a development house.
Well, I don't know about all that, Forte. I mean, Halo as a multiplayer is played a lot. Even to today, Halo 5, I mean, it's an older game. It has a lot more competition, but one of the biggest things that made Halo so popular was the competitive gaming back in 2007. It's one of the most integral games
I used to play
in the gaming industry.
Halo back in the day.
Yeah, it's one of the most integral games in gaming history to actually bring this Twitch and all this competitive gaming and tournaments up. Like, that game was like played everywhere, and people played it for tournaments to win money. Like, they wanted to get sponsored. Like, it was a very clean, crisp game, and people love doing it competitively.
Where is it now, though? I mean, I'm not saying, you're absolutely right. I'm not saying they need to change the formula of Halo 5, because when I go in there and I play it, I enjoy it. But that's just because I know how to play Halo 5 multiplayer. How many people can you say that you know that doesn't?
Well, again, how long has Halo 5 been out, though, bro?
I know Xbox plays it.
Back to Halo 4.
Xbox the only person I know that's any good at that damn game. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a steep learning curve. It's not like Duty. You know, I can hand my 6-year-old a Call of Duty, and she's just fine. She's probably gonna at least get 4 or 5 kills on accident.
Right.
Can't necessarily do that with Halo. It's a steep learning curve. So
I have the worst KD ever on Halo, man. I do not understand
0.2.
Yeah,
it's horrible. I think it's 0.45. It's pretty bad. Yeah,
it's Christ,
it's bad. I mean, I have fun with that. I love the game. It's got slick gameplay. It's just I'm horrible at it. You know, like my aim is not the best, and that's a game where you need that headshot aim. You know, like boom.
For sure.
I'm like I'm more of a foot.
Yeah, when's the last time, when's the last time you put any significant time into a Halo game, like multiplayer-wise?
Multiplayer-wise, probably a year ago, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a bit of a problem, too, you know? It's like, for me, that game, like, that's why I expected a Halo this year or next year, and now it looks like it's going to be 2020, but that game came out in 2015. We're almost in 2019, you know? There's a lot of games out, and to be honest, even there's not any more support for that game from them. I mean, they do like the little updates, but no maps or anything like that. So there's nothing significant. I think I wish some of the rumors would have been true that they did offer some kind of a mode for that, like a Royale mode this year or something. You know what I mean? Like that. I actually thought that would have been something cool.
Oh, for Halo 5.
To test the waters, that would have been really smart.
Yeah, like hey, you know what? While you wait for Infinite, play this new Royale Halo experience. You know, I
it looks
think
like
that
we're
would
gonna
have been
get
cool.
Master Chief in 4K. We'll get that collection in 4K,
Yeah,
which is great.
It looks great. It's great.
It's great, but
It's great.
you know what I'd like to see? Like, it should be out already. Like, what the hell? They have the most amount of employees of any developer out there. I mean, I don't know that for a fact, but they're one or two. And it's like, what is taking so long to get this thing to 4K? I don't get it.
They don't want to launch it. They don't want to launch it like they launched the game. If
Exactly. I was going to say,
They've been
comes out broken. Good night.
But they've been working on fixing it since 2014. It's like, get with it. Let's go.
Yes.
I mean,
it's been in I want to say development like hell.
Is it that broken?
It's been. I don't know. I don't know.
If you get it, I'm in the insider program for the Master Chief Collection, so I've actually played parts of.
How's it working out?
It plays like a dream. I think they're being very cautious with this game because, like you said, they don't want to mess up and have any hiccups with it. Like, they're testing every little thing with the game. Like, they have updates just for the menu because the menu is completely different when you go into it. It's faster, it's more snappier. Everything is changing in that game.
How does it look?
Gorgeous. Like,
I'm excited. Listen, I played all the bad hate and the slack it got back in the day. I played through all 4 games again, and I will play through all 4 again when it's in 4K because it's that I'm more of a Halo story person, and I'll tell you right now, I'm dying to get it. And like, here's my thing. Let's talk about missed opportunities, okay? If they even want to put this thing out in the fall, wrong time. Too many new games coming out starting in 3 weeks. There's new games coming out every week after that. So that's the wrong time. So what are we waiting for? Next summer? Like, Halo Master Chief came out in 2014. Let's go. Like, that's the one thing. And if they're being too cautious, to me, that just doesn't look good for 343. You're supposed to be elite. You know what I mean? You're supposed to be an elite developer. Put the goddamn thing out. Let's go.
Well, I think once we get everything, I think it's going to be phenomenal. You know, at the end of the day, I know they're taking their time with it, Mooch. I get it. I understand. I bought it day 1, 2 when it came out, the Master Chief Collection. I understand it. Like, for the game to be playable, it took like a year and a half for you to even queue up a game. So I get it, bro. I completely understand. So let's go ahead and move on to the next title, man. Sorry about the next topic. We're gonna kind of go out of order. Usually I go in order with the topics. We don't go out of order today. We're gonna have some fun. So the next topic, this is a fun one that I threw in for everybody here in the chat also too. Not only am I asking them in the panel, but the chat also too. So let us know what you guys think. So this was real fun. So I got out of the new studios Xbox's purchase, the ones that we know of currently, not including all of the rumors of the other ones that they may be buying. Who is going to be the first studio to drop their game? Which studio is going to be the first studio to drop a brand new IP? So I'm going to start with you on this one, Mooch, since you ended the last one. Out of the 5 we know of that they started, Initiative, and the other 4 they bought, which one of those studios you think is going to be the first person to put out a new game?
Well, I mean, what me and Crap always say, we've kind of had this debate on the show. I mean, barring, you have to put, Playground aside because we know that, of course, Forza
doesn't count. Yeah.
So that not being included, it would probably be Ninja Theory, just because their game came out a few years back. And realistically, we know that they have had projects in play, but no money to put them forward. So now that the money revenue is coming in, you already see that now the rumor this week is that Ninja Theory is splitting into 2. So there's going to be 2 games coming from Ninja Theory. One they're probably already well on their way with, probably a good.
They could be making, I don't mean to jump in on you.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, they could be making one team making a sequel to Hellblade and the other team doing something else because
that's smart, Crap.
Yeah.
That's smart because you know what that is? That's a dagger in Sony's back, and probably the people who are not a fans will say, "What do you mean? What is that supposed to mean?" What it means is if you're a Hellblade fan, to play the sequel, you have to buy an Xbox. So that is a smart move, and that's something that since they've already created that engine, they've got everything going. They've got the artwork, they've got the actress. They don't need to really kind of do much more than create the next story. So that being said, that's a smart move. But regardless, just to know that Playground is developing 2 games and to know that Ninja Theory is creating 2 games. It was said on Crossfire yesterday, and I can't remember if it was Dealer or not, but I think it was Dealer. I do think, and I know this is one of your topics, PTK, but I think Compulsion has the most to show. Meaning, you know what I mean? Like, they're the ones that have to kind of, because Ninja Theory came out and everyone loved it. And whether you liked it or not, it came to glorious applause. Okay, Playground is already bona fide a winner. The initiative is hiring more superstars than the 1988 Dream Team for the NBA United States Olympics. They already have everybody that you'd want on their team. So really, it's the folks that made We Happy Few that have a hell of a steep climb out of the new acquisitions.
Yeah, I think Compulsion is going to do fine. I think obviously We Happy Few coming out recently. The full retail game essentially. Yeah. I think Compulsion they're going to put out some quality material. I like the style. We Happy Few isn't a huge game, but I do like the quality of the game. They're really
I
good.
think the game looks.
They got a good idea. Yeah.
I think
reminds
the game
me of BioShock. Kind of gives me a BioShock kind of feel a little bit.
Well, you know what's funny? So there you go. Now, PTK, the last way you ended your sentence, I think, is the way that it should be represented. It really doesn't remind me of BioShock at all, except for the funny masks. And because I'm a huge BioShock's probably in my top 3 games. So I originally fell hook, line, and sinker for the trailer when it was in game preview. When we saw the intro, I'm like, wow, this really does look like a BioShock clone. This is great. But then we found out that it was a survival game and nothing like BioShock. Now, they have changed that. It's not survival anymore. It is. It does have 3 independent stories that I do hear tied together somewhat. But I don't think it has that. I still think it's far from BioShock. And I think that these guys need – they got to show me a little bit more, moving forward. And I think they'll get that with the money.
BioShock as far as line for line, essentially like that type of game. I just mean the environments that they're able to create, you know what I'm saying, for the character, you know what I'm saying?
First person.
Right.
Yeah, the first person, the eerie environment that they created, the wherever that story takes place.
Like I said,
for We Happy Few, that kind of situation.
I'll agree with that. Yeah, the environment and the way that they wear the masks and then you had the half broken masquerade masks in BioShock, which gave that same essence, that creepiness, that eeriness, where it was interesting in BioShock, right? Anyone who's played it will really appreciate this. Like when you played BioShock, you're sitting there and there's this room that is full of color and beautiful and vibrant. Music's playing. And then you see this demented artist on stage with a half-broken masquerade mask. And you're like, and he's painting with human blood. And he's just making this crazy. And it's creepy as all shit. And you're like, wow, they have managed to make a game that is able to make an environment that looks like it's user-friendly, yet it freaks you out. And that's interesting when you come to We Happy Few. But We Happy Few kind of pulls back and hits the brakes a little bit. They have that essence and they have the jump scares built in, but they don't really have that demented where Ken Levine, who I think is an actual, everyone keeps giving all these other developers so much credit. And I'm the only one that I ever hear on any podcast talking about Ken Levine. Just an absolute genius.
He is. The problem with some of these big developers, him, Kojima, these guys, the issue with those guys is that they're so fucking talented that they get in their own fucking way. Right. Like they get in their own way, and they like Kojima. He's the only one there that knows exactly what the game's gonna be about. Everybody working on the game probably has no fucking clue what the game actually is supposed to be about.
I don't think
he's the only one. He's like the only one. He's like, here.
I'm not gonna lie. From what I've seen, I don't think he knows what the hell's going on.
I don't even know if he cares. I'm not even sure if he gives a damn.
Let's have. He's like, let's have a guy walking in the desert. Now he's walking. Now he's got a weird baby. Now he's got this weird suit on, but he's still walking.
Honestly, I don't get
it. His mouth.
Dealer's video was hilarious with the UPS thing. Like, was he literally sitting in his living room and he got like a UPS delivery truck come out and he's just like, I got it. He just ran outside and told the game. Like, honestly, what the hell?
I don't know. I don't know. I want to go ahead and bounce that question over to you, Crap. As far as what studio is going to be coming out with the game. One of those you think drop.
I think Ninja Theory, if you listen to Phil, he did an interview at E3 where he said, well, each of our studios are in a different spot. Obviously, Playground's releasing Forza Horizon, and I think Fable is a 2020 game, probably around the launch of the next Xbox. Same with Halo. I think they are going all out for that, by the way. But I think it's going to be Ninja Theory. They recently trademarked Bleeding Edge title. So that kind of just came out like today or yesterday. So I think they're working on a couple of things. They've got that new studio being built. They're hiring that over 100 people. I think they're probably going to be working on a new IP and possibly a sequel Ninja or to Hellblade, excuse me. And I think that's great. I think that's awesome. I think that a lot of people are going to be in on that. You're going to have Hellblade. People say it underperformed on Xbox. The game came out a year prior on PC and PS4. Most people that have an Xbox have one or two of those other platforms. If they really wanted to play it, they were already playing it. The fact that it did as well as it did,
100K, I think, right? I think it cracked 100K on Xbox.
Yes, over 100K.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think that's still pretty damn good. And now, if you imagine a sequel, I think that just releasing on Xbox and Windows, that has the potential to do even better, because then those console guys, if they want a console, and that's going to be in Game Pass day and date. Microsoft is really setting themselves up for, like, people don't understand it, and if they do, when they do understand what Microsoft is doing, if you're like one of those hardcore Sony fanatics, in the back of their mind, they must be going, "Fuck." Like, Microsoft is all in right now. They are literally all in. Like, when you look down the road, like right now, it's easy to go, wow, Sony's really killing it, man. 80 million consoles and this game and this game and this game. And then when you think about, okay, well, let's kick off next generation, what's going to happen? Sony notoriously starts off slow with their exclusives.
Yep.
Microsoft is gearing up to have probably 5 right out of the gate.
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be, and you don't even need to buy them. You just need to put $9.99 down. Imagine that. Like, holy shit, it's going to be insane. Like, I do not doubt that at the start of next generation, you're going to start hearing them talk about numbers on active user, like numbers of people subscribed to Game Pass, like you do with Netflix, right? You're going to start hearing, wow, we've got 45 million people subscribed to Netflix. It's going to keep going up and up and up and up, right? And I'm not even a huge fan of that, but I can see how that's going to draw in a lot of people, right?
Oh yeah, paired with that low cost streaming console. Oh man, it's gonna be perfect.
It's going to be like they're setting themselves up to win, and anybody that doesn't think that, man, they're lying to themselves. They are.
All right, let's go ahead and throw that to you too, Fuzz, man. What do you think, man? Who's coming out with the next? Who's coming out with the new IP first out of those 5 studios?
I agree with Crap and Mooch. I think it's going to be
Ninja
Theory. I definitely think they're going to come out with something before the generation's over, and I think they're also going to have something at the launch of the next generation. It's almost like I think most of the studios that they have now are going to have things lined up. Like I foresee that first year being a new title, not necessarily a new IP, but a new title every other month for that first year. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, with the amount of studios that they have and probably the next couple that they might pick up. But Ninja Theory, I think they're probably going to have something before the streaming box or the next Scarlet local system type of thing. And then my next one, I'm going to say Undead Labs will probably beat a couple others.
State of Decay 3?
Yeah, with State of Decay 3, I think it's going to be a launch title, and it's probably going to be ready probably before some of the other ones, other than like maybe Halo Infinite and Gears 5 and stuff. But the only one that I think is going to be like the slow one or the last one out the gate is going to be their newest studio, the Initiative, because they're having to start from scratch. I mean, yes, they have a lot of awesome talent that they're drawing from all over the place, but I just think to get their footing, I think they're going to be one of those that kind of waits and see what the other studios do, and then it's going to be like an internal competition. They're going to one up all the other studios.
I want to throw a twist on that question too for you two. I don't mean to cut you off. So who do you think is going to be making the next flagship franchise? So we talk Halo, we talk Gears, we talk Forza. So you can only do so many studios, you know what I'm saying? Who's going to be making that next flagship franchise? You talk the Initiative, you think, or
that's a tough one. I think Ninja Theory is going to be a contender, and I know Initiative is definitely going to try to put something out that a new IP that people are going to gravitate to. I think they're going to have something that's a little bit different than all of the other genres that Microsoft has right now. I think they're going to go almost like a Mass Effect type of thing. That's my guess.
Yeah, the Initiative and Playground games will be the ones that are added to the 343 and Coalition tier.
Gotcha.
In my opinion. Yeah. The other ones, the Ninja Theories, the
AA, kind of middle of the road.
Those guys are going to be here to put out really, really good, maybe AA games that are built and maybe episodic in a certain esque for Game Pass.
Okay. Yeah.
Good point. Good point. No, I believe that. Go ahead and finish your point, Fuzz.
No, but I think initiative is going to be the one that makes that next pillar. You know, we talk about Forza, we talk about Gears, we
Absolutely.
talk about Halo. I think initiative is going to have whatever it is. That's going to be the next pillar, and of course, Playground is going to have Fable, so that's going to be back in the fold.
Right.
But as
I'm curious. What do they mean by quadruple A? I'm curious as to what that is. That just budget? Like we gonna open a bag up and just say, hey, you got unlimited resources, or what is quadruple A?
$100 million.
Yeah, it's budget. It's the developers, the amount of developers, the you know, the what they're gonna advertise it with. You know, it's I think it's gonna be huge, and I think it's gonna be the initiative. That's their goal. They probably told them, we want you to make, we want you to make the next Halo or Gears. That's probably what they told them. Not necessarily not those two games specifically, but the next Xbox Halo or Gears, that type of franchise. Right. I think they need something, and I think it's going to be great single player, but I also think it's going to have multiplayer.
Huge multiplayer.
Yes. And I think it's going to be good multiplayer. And I think it's going to do for Xbox what this generation they haven't had, right?
Crap. You had Booty introduced with a red carpet, Gallagher coming into the studio. Booty doesn't tweet at all. His last tweet was, we want to welcome Gallagher. And basically, like Crap saying, I'll just piggyback off it. It's an open checkbook, Crap, right? I mean, these guys are going to come in and the sky's the limit. The limit's not the sky. So they can come in and do whatever they want and spend what they want. And that's why you're seeing these big names come over, because they're like, wait a minute, you're telling me I can artistically do whatever the hell I want to do? And they're like, that's what I'm telling you. You can do whatever you want to do. And they're like, all right, I'll see you on Monday. You know, I mean, I think that's what's happening. Crap's really on point.
Yeah. Well, it is very true. Just look at the people that they're luring over. You got people. Yeah, you got people coming over from everywhere, man. It's crazy.
Naughty Dog.
You're not getting those types of people to come over because you got a nice, spread for lunch. That's not happening.
You know what that job interview looks like for somebody like that? They walk into the office, you see whoever's sitting there, hiring manager, Phil, whoever it may be, and they walk in, they all, so why do you want I said, okay, cool. Well, what do you think about this? And he just pulls out like a blank thing.
I think the interview process goes like this. There is no interview process. We want you. This is the stuff we were talking about on BGST 4 years ago. Okay, we were talking about be the behemoth that you are. This is that instance. This is a matter of a red phone is on Gallagher's desk. When he picks it up, it calls somebody important, and they're like, "We want you to come work for us." And they're like, "All right, boss, see you in a minute." And they just tell their other employer, "I'm no longer here." And that's how it goes down. And that's the way it's supposed to be. I mean, Microsoft is one of the richest companies in the world. And now finally, Satya Nadella, which it took time to get Phil to the head table, but now he's there. And now that's what's happening. And the initiative really, now, whether they perform or not, that's a discussion we're going to have in the future. But they definitely have the right pieces in place, and they definitely have the budget. And that's how you start. That's a hell of a start.
Right. Well, let's just be honest, right? The initiative is the next, like we said, the next big franchise to come for Xbox. But let's be honest, they're there to lure new fans in. Right now, Xbox doesn't have a game where new people that are playing on PlayStation, Nintendo go, man, I need to get an Xbox right now, because they already have the Halo fans, they have the Gear fans, they have the Forza fans. This is just like what PlayStation did. They made new franchises that people are like, damn, I need to go get a fucking PlayStation to play this. Sorry for cussing. But that's what they did, right? The Last of Us, right? That got mooch. That didn't get crap, but there's other games like God of War that got crap. And all these other games that they have just really lure people in and different types of fans. That's what Xbox is trying to do with the initiative. They're trying to set this new standard of a game that we don't know what it is, but it's supposed to lure new people in other than the Halo and the Gear fans. It's the next franchise. And then I think Playground Games also is, the next big developer in the industry. Because if you hear the way they talk, they have like a swagger about them. They're not there to play games. I mean, they're there to play games, but they're not there to just be like, they're not there to like basically mess around and be like, yeah, we're just pushing this game out. They have said, multiple people that work there said, we are trying to be the best developers in the damn world. And that's what they want to do. They want to bring out games that are just going to knock people's socks off and basically be like, yeah, we need to get an Xbox or we need to get a PC to get Game Pass to play this. That's what they want to do. That's what the whole point of the industry is, man.
If that Fable comes out looking anything like I hope it does, oh my god.
And I'm saying to jump on back kind of on topic with what we're talking about, what developers are bring out the next game. I think it is Ninja Theory because they had 20 people working on Hellblade and they had another 80 people on staff doing God knows what. I mean, they were obviously working on something. Yeah. So I think they're closer to pushing something out. And maybe they are splitting off to make another Hellblade 2, and they have that smaller team, and they gave them a little bit more budget. Can you imagine what that game could have been if they actually had a decent amount of budget for that game?
And the thing about Ninja Theory, I'm going to cut you off, but the thing about Ninja Theory also is that, remember, Phil didn't approach them this year. It was last year when he said, hey, let's go ahead and bring you guys on to that. Was E3 2017. When they got approached about coming to Xbox.
Well, yeah, man. I mean,
so that gave them plenty of time heads up time, essentially a whole year from this past E3 to say, okay, what are we gonna bring to the table? What game are we gonna, what's gonna be our launch game on Xbox's platform?
Yeah,
go ahead.
And I'm glad Microsoft approached them because the way that video that they put out sounded, it literally sounded like Hellblade saved them. Like that game saved them just enough to be around for Microsoft to buy them. Like, in all honesty, it just there's such a talented group of individuals, and they bring the best out of every resource they have. And now they have Microsoft's resources. They're gonna bring out a game that's pretty good. And I think Playground Games, I love Forza. It's the only racing game I play. But I will say, I know a lot of people are not gonna like this. I hope they're not making Fable. I think that I really hope they're not making Fable. I think they're too creative for that. I think they've been kind of doing the Forza thing, and I think they need to just kind of spread their creative wings out and make a new franchise. I want to see what they can do with the talent that they have.
If not them doing Fable, who would be who? I mean,
I don't know, and that's the thing. I don't even know if Fable's on the table. I know people.
It's on the table. It's not a hint. It's Eurogamer has already confirmed it. A former Lionhead Studios employee confirmed it as well. It's Playground Games. They're doing it. What happened was, and this is just sort of stuff that you hear going around from certain people that are in the know, but basically the only games that they've done is car games. They wanted to do an open world RPG, a new IP. Nobody wanted it. Phil didn't even want it. He turned it down. Then when they started getting some hype about there being a Fable comeback, he was like, well, how about you turn that into Fable? And that's basically where we're at now. So they're definitely going to make Fable. I'd love to see they're the only team that could do it because they're that British type of team with that large studio. They've got over 200 people.
I agree with everything you say there, Crap, and there's no disputing if there's written evidence, but I mean, I don't think Fable's linked to English literature.
It 100% is.
It's not.
100%.
I mean, it has. Disney was not made in England, and we've got enough fairy tales here to kind of take off from there.
I understand.
Let me say this though. You've never played Fable. You have to play it to understand it.
That's why I'm kind of with Zalker on this. That I wish it was a new one, but
it's not.
Well, I understand what he's saying.
It's their take on Fable. It's their take on Fable.
It is very steep in British humor, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely.
But Crap is sounding like he's a fly on the wall at these meetings. Like, holy cow!
I'm not. Like Mooch has heard.
Hey, what did I tell you when we started? He's the only celebrity in here.
Mooch heard the same story. Yeah, Mooch heard the same story. Yeah, from the same person. So
no. I mean, I get it, but
I think Crap's right. I'm not saying he's right. He's actually right. I think in this case, I just myself personally, because Fable just never. If Fable comes out from Playground or anybody, and it's a dark remake of start it from scratch again, and make it a little bit darker, make it a little bit more sinister, I'm all about it. But if it's just another like, I don't feel like coming home and being all jolly and
Fable wasn't really that. Yeah, I mean, if you played it, okay, the first one, which I think is in Game Pass, and you have Game Pass, the anniversary one, like your family gets killed, and you find out you're a descendant of heroes, which is like this guild, and you go out and it's really well done. The second one is like you have a family and stuff, and your whole family can die, or your dog.
Are you talking more about the art? like you don't like the art style too much, like because I could see how you see that being a little too not too dark or realistic and a little kiddie.
Well, that's it. And Crap does a good job of the count. Me and Crap have had this conversation a bunch on MNC evenings and stuff, but like he's right. The writing is more adult, but the problem is the environment is very kiddie. It's very cartoony, and it's like you could still be cartoony, but you could be dark and more sinister with it and make it a much more adult cartoon type of theme. Whereas
well, in Fable, I married a lady to get in her house and get a sword, and then I killed her. Like, I mean, like that's
yeah, but if you're doing it looking like one of the elves that hung out with Snow White, it's not that creepy. You know, I mean,
I don't know. I enjoyed the art. Like there was no, I think it was Fable 2 was where if you were a good guy, you got angel wings. Like when you, and then if you were bad, you had like these devil horns and stuff like that. I really like that. Like I would suggest that you try playing it, Mooch.
I should try it. Yeah,
and give it a try. Now here's the thing. I do think they might do a new IP. I think Forza Horizon 4 might be. They might take a break from that after this. Just my opinion.
I'd be okay with that too. I love the Forza Horizons.
How
many more festivals can we go to?
Reason why I say that is because Forza Motorsport is taking a little bit of a break. Right. Like it's not coming out next year. They're all working.
So Crap. You're saying possibly new IP and Forza, and once Forza launches, they'll have some support for it. But after that,
I think they're going to do.
Team would work on.
I think what they're going to do with Forza Horizon 4 possibly is what they're going to do with Forza 7 is run it more as a game as a service and do the updates and like they're continuing the updates with Forza 7, right?
It's a smart move.
Like I could see them doing that. Not only that, but they've always had side help from different developers with the Forza games, right? So believe it or not, I know people probably aren't going to want to hear this. Turn 10 helps out a lot with Horizon. You also have Sumo Digital helps out and some of these other little sub things. You could keep those games going with minimal staff and you know what I mean, and continue them going. So I do think that we're going to see, I'm not saying they won't ever do another Forza Horizon. I'm just saying it might take a year or so, a couple years off.
I saw Sumo Digital recently
they bought
acquired a bunch of people, right?
So
I know that this may not be popular either, but this may be another company that Microsoft absorbs as a Sumo Digital.
I've been talking about them getting Sumo Digital for a little bit now. I would not be surprised.
That doesn't surprise me at all if that happens.
It would not, since they've already helped Microsoft. They all the time help Microsoft. They built Forza Horizon 2 on the 360. They did Sega All-Stars Racing. They're
not a bad pickup. Crap.
They're not. Here's the thing. They're very good at racing games. Yeah. Now imagine if they transfer and let them do some of the Horizon stuff later on. You know what I mean? And let Playground do a new IP. Like its possibilities are limitless. Like there's a lot of things that they could do, but I do think we will get a new IP out of Playground. I honestly 100% am sure they're doing Fable.
Yeah, I don't think Microsoft's ever going to do another second party type of deal with Sumo or anybody else. Because after what happened with Fable, what do you call the Dragon one? Scalebound. Scalebound after what's happened with Crackdown 3's development hell. And like if E3 wasn't an indication that they're basically going to be first party first now, I think I don't think they're going to do the whole second party, basically give somebody resources to make a game.
I think they may do that again. I just think they'll never do business with Platinum Games ever again.
Yeah, well, no, that's a fact. But
that was a Platinum Games problem. That wasn't that situation, like giving money to a AA or making a AA situation. Platinum Games completely and utterly turned their back on them and spent the money on other resources for other games.
Yeah, and to get a little bit back more on topic, I think another developer that might bring out something first before Ninja Theory, whoever, is somebody that they acquire. Because Jez, a lot of people have talked like they're not done buying studios.
No, not at all.
We have no idea what they're going to do. So they might buy somebody and be like, yeah, their next game is exclusive and it's coming out in 6 months, 8 months, or a year. Right?
Yeah,
we don't know. We honestly don't know. This is like unprecedented ground for us. This is unknown because Microsoft is
exciting as fuck. That's what it is.
Exciting as hell. Yeah, it is, man. Like you can wake up every day and be like, what the hell are they doing today? Like they're just that's what Microsoft's doing right now. They're not hiding anymore.
I think a lot of us have been doing this long enough to where I think part of your statement's correct. I think the excitement is true. I think the unknown, we are in an unknown territory. But I can tell you one thing: they're not buying a company that probably has a game ready to go in 6 months. That's like a big name. I think you're going to see more more of the Sumo Digitals. You're going to see more of the Obsidians. Companies like that actually have these developers that are very talented in their respected genres, and they'll be making maybe something they've been working on as a side project for 6 months, but they still have 2-3 years left. I don't think you're going to see like a company we all know that they acquire and they're like, well, the game that you thought was multi-plat is not. That's not going to happen.
That'd be weird.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, so
Phil wouldn't do that.
Let's get to Gaming Forte. You've been over there quiet, man. Sorry about that. But
no, you good.
Yeah. What's your thought, man? Who's coming out with a game first, brother? And we are going over an hour as Mooch fucking predicted.
That's just the way it is, dude. You've never been under an hour with me here.
Let's be fucking real.
Already set up for it.
Yeah, go ahead, Forte.
No, what I was going to say, I'll actually give like my timetables of what I think. I think everybody's correct about Ninja Theory. I think their game is probably going to be the first one that does drop. Now, with it being already end of 2018, I don't see it coming in 2019 because I don't see it as a holiday title. But I do see 2020 in the springtime as being the game that they could launch. Maybe it's the next Hellblade game, which I would be excited for because I love that game. The rest of them are really weird where they could actually fall at, just because some studios like Undead Labs already dropped their game. Compulsion already dropped their game. I think Compulsion is going to basically just be the fuel for Game Pass. I think they're going to be making a lot of games for that. And then until that studio really gets its footing, I think that's what it'll be relegated at. When it comes to Playground, I think their game possibly could be the next game that comes out of the gate because they're making a second studio with Forza Horizon 4 already on the horizon coming out. I think 2021, probably right after the initial launch of the next box when it comes out, because I do think 2020 is when the next Xbox is coming. So I think that spring is when you'll see maybe that Fable game in 2021. So that gives them a good 3-4 years from today's date to get that out. After you get that title, I think that's when you're going to see the next game from Undead Labs. I think they're going to build a brand new engine. I think they're going to do a lot of things to make sure that the next State of Decay game is going to be great. So that's what I'm looking for that studio, because I don't think they can lay on their morals when it comes to the next title that they bring out. The title does well as it is, but I think they need to make another step up. So I think that's why I think that game is going to be after Playground's next game, because they're going to change everything. And of course, the initiative is still building, and I don't expect that game into if they can get it out in 2022, that would be great. But I'm thinking 2023 at the earliest, maybe spring, maybe at the very end of 2022, but that's at the absolute earliest.
Cool. So you got dates and everything. Goddamn. Okay, cool. Well, that's a good timetable. No problem. And like I said, I think I'm with you guys also too. I had heard that Ninja Theory was working on something on the side, and they did have that other team that was not doing Hellblade, doing some other things. So I think they're probably going to be first people out the gate. I think Initiative is probably going to be last, just like you guys stated, because they're pretty much getting built from the ground up, and that takes quite a bit of time to put together an idea and flesh it out. That takes years. Quadruple A level studio. That's going to take, we talking movie budget, talking Avengers kind of stuff right here. But moving forward, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic, man. And once again, if you guys have not already, please like here. It's amazing that you guys do that. Helps the video be seen. So Battlefield 5 low pre-orders. That's the next thing we're going to dive into, man. I was kind of mulling over this before I actually was use it as a topic. I wasn't going to initially, but I thought about it. There's a lot about why that, and I think if we go back and we look at Battlefield 1, okay, what was going on when Battlefield 1 came out? If you guys don't recall, if you guys remember, Call of Duty was taking a shit at the time. And matter of fact, at the time when they dropped that trailer for, I think it was Infinite Warfare, it was the most disliked trailer on YouTube, which was a huge benefit to Battlefield at that point. Because Battlefield said, hey, look, we got boots on the ground. So they hugely benefited from going back and doing World War I while Call of Duty was taking a shit. They don't have that benefit this time around. Black Ops is not, obviously, maybe not a game everybody's excited for, but there's some excitement behind it. And Call of Duty is still Call of Duty. It's still looked at as like a big brother, essentially, to Battlefield, essentially. So I think that's part of it, but I want to get you guys' take. We're going to start with Fuzzy on this one, man. What do you think What's up with the Battlefield 5 pre-orders? Why do you think they're so low?
I think that's going to turn around at some point when they start to show that Ring of Fire Battle Royale. But I guess the other thing, they really need to push it. They still have a story or some sort of campaign. I mean, to be in between, what was it, Red Dead and Black Ops, it's a tough spot for them, and it's one of those things that EA just can't seem to time things right because they did the same thing with like Titanfall 2 last time, but. I think their road to getting pre-orders up or at least turning things around is show more about the Ring of Fire for Battle Royale, and then just throw it home, throw some shade on Call of Duty Black Ops, and say, hey, for the casual that wants the some sort of campaign or story to go through, they need to really put that front and center, even though it might not be historically accurate or anything like that, but at least you have something to kind of practice before you jump into multiplayer.
Okay, cool. So what about you, Mooch? What do you think, man?
Oh, I think it's a shit show. That's what I think.
You think so?
Battlefield 5 is just Battlefield 1 DLC. You're gonna tell people to stop, put down your semi-automatic that you used in World War I, and then pick up the same gun that they used in World War II and pay me $60 more. No. The thing about it is if you go ahead and look at your friends list right now, I don't care. It's not pertaining to just my friends list. Anybody who's listening to the show, you're going to see that people are playing Call of Duty right now, and you're going to see that nobody's really playing Battlefield. Call of Duty is still, and Fortnite has done a hell of a job pushing this, nudging them over a bit, but they're the multiplayer 800-pound gorilla. And the thing is we can sit here as YouTubers and people in the gaming media, and we can cry and complain that they took away your single player this year, and that's fine and dandy. But realistically, people play Black Ops for the multiplayer. And ultimately, at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, disagree or not, you're getting more multiplayer, and they're going to go ahead and throw the Battle Royale in there. And they've advertised that. So really, when it comes down to it, Battlefield's always been Call of Duty's little brother in the fact of sales. And that's really, here's the thing. They haven't done enough to change the mantra, right? There's really, it doesn't matter. Like World War I, World War II, the tech didn't change. And when you're fighting in...
They benefited last time because we were all fucking throwing pitchforks and shit at, Activision about the whole, the Infinite Warfare shit. That got so much backlash because people were tired of the jumping around, pretty much Halo type gameplay.
This is what I said. So we got our boots, and I said this to Crap 6 months ago, okay? We got our boots in the ground with Battlefield 1. We got our boots in the ground with World War II and Call of Duty. Sorry, guys, that's enough with the boots in the ground. We are playing video games. We're excited for games that bring us to another venture, another world, another, just things to do differently. And I'm not going to sit here and I wouldn't want to plunk down another $60 on the same game I just bought 2 years ago in Battlefield 1. It's just, whether you're running around in so-and-so Germany or you're running around in so-and-so Norway, it's the same looking era. It's the same villages. It's the same sound effects. It's the same tanks. It's the same nonsense. And Battlefield also has a way of being like, we have this great war we're giving you. And I'm like, yes, you do. But for anybody who's sitting there and you're planning your attack and then you finally jet away from the brick wall you've been hiding behind for 10 minutes, you get away and you get pelted by somebody who's sniping from 7 miles away. It's just the game, realistically, for a lot of casuals, it just doesn't meet the criteria. For the hardcore, sure. And you're going to love it. You guys are going to love it. I'm not really talking to you. But realistically, you're never going to beat the casuals and that market that Call of Duty has. And Battlefield 5 it's to me, it's a never was.
I think a key thing you said too was that they didn't do enough. So you had an opportunity.
It feels like DLC, PTK. It feels like DLC.
Yeah, and they didn't do enough in that period of time. They had Call of Duty was down for a second. They kind of tripped up there for a little bit. Nobody was really high on Infinite Warfare, and they had an opportunity there. I don't think they took advantage of it. So it's on you, Crap, man. What do you think, man? Why do you think there's low pre-orders?
I think that the low pre-orders are for a number of reasons. I think it's sandwiched between a couple of games.
Yeah, that's
obviously Red Dead 2 is a big one. Also, and this is not necessarily how I feel about things, but people are quick to dismiss things like this, right? When it comes to war games or games about our history, people like a large level of realism, right? If you look at World War II, the Call of Duty game, the campaign was accurate. Maybe the multiplayer wasn't. They took out the Nazi stuff, right? I get it. But the campaign was very accurate, right? Based on real stuff. When you look at the Battlefield 5 stuff, you had people very much complaining about the historical accuracy of that stuff. I'm not just talking about a woman or whatever. I'm talking about a lot of that stuff, right? It was just, why do a World War II game if you're not going to be accurate with at least your campaign? You might as well put in laser guns. And so the fact that the developers go, we don't care if you don't buy our game. They say that could be millions of people that care. You know what I mean? That cared about that. Now, it's not something that would stop me, but also it does look a lot like Battlefield 1. Also, Black Ops 4, the name is something that'll help carry it, despite the fact that it looks worse than Black Ops 3, has no campaign. They didn't play off the hate that Black Ops has been getting because of the lack of the campaign and stuff, right? They haven't even shown off their own or talked about their own battle royale, which they're going to have. If I were them, I would have been playing up the campaign and realism and gritty war and how much better the graphics are going to be, like they've done before. They've done piss poor planning with this game, and it's going to get Titanfall 2'd is basically what's going to happen. So it's good. It's going to get tight. It's going to get sandwiched between these games. If they were smart, I would delay that shit. I would.
They won't, but you're right.
They won't, but I would totally delay this game. I would have planned better. I would have maybe released Battlefield next February and then pushed Anthem back even further. Make sure that shit's ready to go. So
good point. Good point. Okay, Fuzzy. So I think I started with Fuzzy maybe, but did I start with you, Fuzzy, on this one? Okay, so I'm losing track. So it's Game of Forte, man. It's on you, brother. What do you think, man? Low Battlefield 5 pre-orders, man. What's the issue?
All right, so when I think about these pre-orders, I come in two ways of it. I feel like EA kind of got dealt the raw hand with the release dates, because normally Battlefield owns the end of like the middle to the end of the month of October, because that's normally when they release their games. They don't release them earlier than that. They don't release in November. Red Dead Redemption wasn't supposed to come out in the holidays. That was supposed to be a spring title. It was actually supposed to come out last year, then it got delayed, which we all knew was going to happen. And Call of Duty pulled the okie doke and came out 4 weeks early. So normally Battlefield is the first of those games that comes out the gate, and that's not the case anymore. They also had the Call of Duty had their beta for the last 2 weeks, and a lot of people have been playing that and getting their hands onto that. Battlefield's beta doesn't start till September 4th, so I know pre-orders are going to probably pick up when that beta goes live, because that's how you get into that one too. But the biggest thing is, like everybody said, I hate to say it because I love Battlefield, but Battlefield 5 looks like DLC. It could be DLC. It's really good looking DLC, and you are going to get a lot of different types of weapons, not too much different just because of the era change, but they just need to refresh it. It's been after this Call of Duty, it'll be almost a solid 7-8 years almost before we get the next modern type of game from Battlefield. You're looking at, if they still do anything with the Star Wars Battlefront title, you're looking at that next year, and then maybe you'll get Bad Company 3, which even that won't be modern times. That will probably be, and I forget where the story.
Well, shit. I mean, can you release a Bad Company 3 at this point? By the time it comes out,
dude.
I mean, you can for us.
You can for us.
But I mean, for the casuals, they're like, what the fuck is 3? Where's 1 and 2 at?
Exactly. So that's the catch-22 that they're in, because they know the hardcore wants that game, but a lot more people play the Modern Warfare. The regular series, because overall, I would go back and this is what they should do. They should go back and remaster Battlefield 4, because that game works really well now. And
Forte, when did you say the beta is coming out for Battlefield 5?
September 4th. September 4th.
Great. So the minute Destiny launches, the largest thing in the world, right? This is what I'm saying. And Big Germ's in the chat. Big Germ, you don't understand. Pre-orders don't mean shit. Okay. Yeah. So that doesn't mean anything. The problem here is that you can see Battlefields. The people that work over at DICE they're half asleep. Just like most of the people over there that are working in the game development, they're not paying attention. Why would you have a beta come out when you know everybody's going to be playing Destiny that weekend? Are you out of your mind?
Dude.
And then 3 days later, Spider-Man, and then 7 days later, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Are you nuts? That's why they have what do you call it there? That's why Call of Duty did it now when there's nothing, and it gets people amped again and psyched for a new game coming out. And I'm not saying Call of Duty's all that. I will say that Call of Duty Black Ops 4 looks like a reskinned Black Ops 3. It doesn't look much different, but it's still that multiplayer fun arcadey game that it's always been. Yeah. And it's enough changed after World War II that the jumping around and the semi-futuristic feel is something that's kind of wanted again. It's kind of it's going to be embraced after the drought of the past.
I actually
years.
think Call of Duty is going to underperform too. I don't think
it will.
It's be,
it will.
I don't think it's going to be living. But I think they're living off the Black Ops name.
Yes,
but they really flubbed this development. I mean, if you look at it, like I mentioned this yesterday on Crossfire. 720p on the Xbox One S.
What?
Yeah, 720p. Not only is it 720p, there's no campaign. There's a lot of stuttering. There's just it's really bad. The anti-aliasing is bad.
I got news for you, Crap. That campaign in Battlefield 5 is going to be just as good as the one that doesn't exist in Call of Duty.
Well, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
That is going to be one shitty campaign.
The thing is there like two of the three campaigns in the Black Ops game have been great.
Yeah,
part of what makes Black Ops, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't why even call it Black Ops? Just call it Call of Duty generic or something. You know what I mean? Because you just got generic looking characters running around. It's like
I feel, and I agree with I know where you're going with that, but realistically, if I told you can't go to the movies or you have to go watch Attack of the Killer Tomatoes 5, you're better off not going at all. And that's the whole point here is that these single player games in Battlefield and Call of Duty have been just blah. I mean, they're crap gets a kick out of it. Follow Captain Stunuts to the left. Let's go. Kneel down and wait till somebody comes out of that house. Then shoot them. Then follow Captain Stunuts to the next village. Who gives a shit? Like
I do though. Like,
I know it gives you achievement points. That's what it is.
It's not just achievement points. I like to play those games to get a feel for the weapons, to get a feel for the movements. I just like I like those. Like they're a good 5-6 hour campaign.
What you guys didn't know is
I'm writing a letter right now, though, PTK. PTK, I'm writing a letter right now to Treyarch right now. I'm just saying, please, instead of the option of having a single player campaign, just press A and you can get the immediate 500 gamer points, and then everybody will be okay with it.
It's like they're like those explosive type, story, like the Michael Bay type things. By
the way, Michael Bay may be one of the most criticized directors of all time for being the most boringest movies of all time.
But check this out: a lot of people like his. Like I like the Transformers movies. They're not fucking masterpieces.
They're horrid, and I love Transformers.
No, listen, I like them. You know what I mean? Like I'm just saying, like I like their popcorn movies. You know, like those campaigns are their popcorn campaigns, explosions and scripted stuff, and I especially the 3 Modern Warfare campaigns. I fucking love those 3.
Okay, so let me buy into what you're saying, Crap. Let me buy into what you're saying. The first 2 Transformer movies, okay, were that popcorn thing where I went to go see them and I enjoyed them and I was like, yeah, it was okay, it's okay, it's that whole Michael Bay thing. I get it, okay. But by the time we got to the Marky Mark version, I was done with it. At this point, we're at Marky Mark with Call of Duty. I'm done with it. It's over with right now.
The Funky Bunch, bro. Come on, man.
I honestly would say that we're at the Marky Mark version of multiplayer for Call of Duty. I mean, to be honest with you, if you look at it, like, what are they doing?
Multiplayer.
Okay,
right?
multiplayer, but you're saying, like, when you're hiding behind a wall on Battlefield and you run out and get sniped from 70 miles away, like, I get what you're saying.
But you lost 30 minutes of your life and you lost 8 minutes in Call of Duty.
Did you see the people playing? Like, you played Call of Duty, the beta. Did you see it? Like, there's drones that electrocute you, then you just sit there and a guy comes up and shoots you. There's another guy that can do, like, a Hulk slam, but then there's a freaking guy with a get-wrecked shield.
Right, but then
what the hell are you doing?
But when all those things happen, you respawn within 2 seconds later. After your Battlefield of sitting around doing nothing for 10 minutes with espionage and detail to get sniped off. Then you come down the parachute for 10 minutes until you land and play again.
You spawn
it is the sleepiest multiplayer of all time.
I was literally playing Battlefield just today, like 20 minutes ago with Dealer.
My condolences.
You spawn on your squad. You spawn on your squad,
Yes.
so they don't die. You keep them up. You do little classes. That's what you do. But in Call of Duty, it's just like mindless run back and forth, shoot each other.
Well, I mean, Fortnite's mindless, and it's the biggest game of all time. I mean, listen, that's a hard argument.
Fortnite's not really mindless. Like you can play it mindless, but to build and actually build a fort, it takes some damn skill.
That's
like,
what
you're only building a fort. You're really only building a fort in Fortnite, like when you're the last 5. You're not building one when there's 99 people left. What are you doing? You got to get to the circle.
If you're not getting to the last 5, then it's boring anyways, right? Because then you're just getting.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So, like, the conversation's moot, right? I mean, realistically, it doesn't really hold water. But that's Call of Duty's an arcadey multiplayer. It is what it is. Battlefield's a 45-minute multiplayer. When you finally get action, you're just snipe from 45 miles away.
No, you can play the smaller maps. You can play.
Yeah, they have other modes.
Even the conquest.
Yeah,
but
the one thing. The one thing I will say is when it comes to Battlefield, and I agree with Zarko on that, it's just Call of Duty. It doesn't feel good if you play it the slow, methodical way because the game isn't meant to be played that way. Right. Where Battlefield, you can play that game how you want to play it. You can play the slow, methodical game, but if you want to go in there and actually be in the mix all the time, you can do it. It's very easy to do it in Battlefield.
Well, yeah, and I think Battlefield has evolved, right? Like the destructible environment, like that's just amazing. Like if there's a guy in a building, like you're not just like hitting them in the head, you're blowing up the building, and you see the body fly out.
Here's the best way to put it with how I feel with Battlefield versus Call of Duty. If you were to play the game of dodgeball, where you have your team and you can't step over the line, right? You have your team behind you, and the team that you're trying to hit is in front of you. And then when the coach and Jim was like, free for all, and now everybody's got a ball, and the guy behind you can slam you in the head. That's Battlefield. Battlefield, you're just like, I got him. And you're dead from behind. You're like, well, I thought you were my teammate. Not anymore. And you're like, what? So like, it's like realistic. Battlefield's just an absolute mess.
I don't know what kind of Battlefield.
I gotta be honest, Mooch.
There's crop dusters. There's horses. There's people with knives. Get out of here. Listen, it's ridiculous.
I don't know what kind of Battlefield.
If you don't believe me, just look at how bad Battlefield does. It's not just me.
You out here mixing up farming simulator with Battlefield.
You've got to play the game a little bit more, Mooch, with some people, man. I'm telling you, the game. I used to hate Battlefield too. I used to hate it.
I played Battlefield with the Pope and Jez, 2 big-time Battlefield fans, and if those guys can't convert me, nobody else can.
You probably played a bad mode or something, dude. That game.
We played Battlefield. We played Team Deathmatch. Here comes an Arabian horse behind me. Boom.
There was no horses in the.
Hey, was that a sniper that got you? No, it was the crop duster from Crap Gamer.
I don't know what I'm saying is this. No, the team death, the closer quarter stuff. There's no horses. There's no vehicles in that. It's just it's a lot like Call of Duty, but more players.
So realistically, what's funny though, Crap. Every time we have this conversation, people are like, Mooch, what you need to do is not play Battlefield. Play the mode in Battlefield. It's just like Call of Duty. Oh,
no. There's way more people. Like I could list the stuff that really fucked up with Call of Duty. Like, and this is from a person that's bought every single one and bought multiple ones on multiple platforms. Right? I think I own something like 18 Call of Duty games like on PS3, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and PS4, right? So I own a shit ton of Call of Duty. This is the first one I'm not buying. I don't care about the beta. I don't have no interest in it. No campaign. That's a biggie. They take out a player, so it goes from having 6v6 to 5v5. It's fucking ridiculous. Super goddamn powers. Like, are they actually going to have dedicated servers this time around? What's the deal with this blackout? What's the player count? I mean, we're like a month and a half away from this, and we have no information on this stuff, right? Why do you got to buy the entire map pack as a season pass instead of it?
Yeah,
it's a big ripoff. Like, why is it still $60 when they're giving you less content than previous years? It's
well, Crap. I can't sit here and speak for the marketing department. My whole point that I'm trying to say, we're talking about the game. Realistically, the single player campaign, if you feel slighted as a consumer, that's a you problem. Myself personally, I buy that game as a multiplayer gamer. So I don't feel like I'm getting slighted. I never even played any of the single player games at all except for the last one. So for me, it's a never was. I get it where you're coming from, and I understand you not buying it. I wouldn't talk. You notice I've never talked you into it. I don't think I would talk you into it, especially since Black Ops 4 is really just Black Ops 3 again.
Right. It looks worse than Black Ops 3, to be honest with you.
Well, better. Come on, Black Ops 3 didn't look great, so like they all look bad. It is what it is.
I think
to get back kind of like on like the topic we were talking about, like the sales of it, I would say the big thing that separates both of these games is focus. I think Black Ops 4 has a focus, and the developers knew what they wanted to do with the game, and they concentrated on that in multiplayer. I would say in Battlefield 5, EA seems like this is what's messing it up, right? Like Crap said, this is World War II. A lot of people, like, I'm actually a huge World War II fan. I read a lot about it, and I love the era, and I love what like the sacrifices people made for us to be able to even do this podcast.
Absolutely.
But I'm saying that they kind of they're shifting their focus too much. Like, it's World War II, but then somebody has a bionic arm, somebody's doing this. Like, it doesn't make sense. And I feel like a lot of fans that are fans of World War II wanted their last basically World War II game, because the next one's not coming out for like another 8 to 10 years.
Right.
So people wanted a World War II game, a genuine one. That's why COD World War II sold so well. And
that's why I question Battlefield doing World War I. It's literally even all of us, like, I agree with you. I love I'm not gonna call myself a buff, but I love World War II. I've done a lot of reading on it when I was younger. Right. World War I gave two shits about. It just wasn't as interesting. The whole how we got into it, and the whole war.
Interesting. The guns,
the guns are more
like the guns in Battlefield 1. That's the flaw, right? Like, you have the same guns. Like, they have like maybe 15 guns in there, and it's all the same ones, and they feel the same. World War II.
That's my point. I just question why Battlefield should have done World War II when Battlefield 1 came out.
Yeah,
they shouldn't have done what they did there.
Yeah, I think it would have killed. I think it would have,
and they would have beaten Call of Duty to the punch.
I think we can sum up this whole fucking topic by one thing. I just think that both of those games are screwed because Red Dead's coming out. Like, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. Nobody's playing anything else at that point. You may buy the game, touch on a little bit, but everybody's gonna be coming back.
I said that yesterday, PTK. I agree.
Yeah, I think it's just that goddamn simple.
They're both screwed.
Drops a game.
To be honest with you, yeah.
You can be it. I'm gonna move my game. Well, good luck moving it. You got to move it 2 years away, because that's about as good as it's gonna get for the next year or so. That's all anybody's gonna be playing, essentially. So I think they're pretty screwed in that regard. But we're gonna go ahead and move on to the last topic here. Once again, guys, thank you guys for all hanging out. We got one more topic left. And this last one is a doozy. So we're talking about Game Pass. So a little bit of Game Pass. So is it Xbox's greatest or biggest feature to date for this generation? Would you say Game Pass is probably like a signature? It's going to be one of their signature features for this generation. One of the things you can look back and say, through everything that's happened with Xbox, good and bad, is one of their bright lights this entire generation. So would you agree with that, it being the biggest thing, well, not biggest feature essentially, but one of the biggest features this entire generation that they can leave on a generation when they move forward to the next one? So I'm going to start with you on this, Crab. Would you agree that Game Pass?
You know what? Right now, I don't think it's as big a deal as it could be. I just, the reason being is a lot of the games that we see go in there are small games or old games. I just don't think that, and I think that's a bit of a problem. And their exclusives that they really touted, those have been received mediocrely from I like them, but for the most part, the general public sees them as being mediocre. Score wise, right? I think that Forza Horizon 4 could change that. It'll be interesting to see that dynamic. I think obviously Gears and Halo change that. But right now, it seems like almost a place where they put some of their mediocre game exclusives and old games, But I do think that it has it's a super value. It's there for a certain type of person, maybe a person that's coming over from PS4. Maybe that doesn't have any library. You get an instant library for $10, right? That's fantastic. I think it's a really good value right there. For me personally, I buy a ton of games, man. I have like 600 and something games, so it's not exactly for me. A lot of the games are 360 games, and or smaller games that I don't care about. But I do definitely see the value there. I think they're setting themselves up for next generation to really have something special there. I don't think it's quite there yet, but I think that it will be by the time next generation runs around.
And I think I was going to go right there, too. You beat me to the punch. I was going to say, I think, like you said, they're setting themselves up because, I mean, you pair that with the the rumor is they're gonna have a streaming box and they're gonna have a regular, just everyday kind of console. I think that's a great deal if you pair those two. I think we're gonna see a bigger impact as far as Game Pass next generation when if they do that and they come out with a $150 system that streams. That's a nice add-on. Like, hey, by the way, go ahead and spend the $10 and now you can stream all however many 200 games or in Game Pass at this point. So I think we're gonna see the impact of that next generation. I think right now, like you said, if you're hardcore guy like yourself, you don't really utilize it because you have everything that you want already to play. So
yeah,
Fuzzy, it's on you, bro. What do you think about Game Pass, man? Would you say it's one of the biggest features thus far this generation?
As a parent of two kids, yes. Although I still love my X. The Xbox One X, I think, is probably their biggest card or feather in their hat for this generation. But Game Pass is definitely up there. I mean, it's like Crap said, I think it's going to be a bigger thing for the next generation with the streaming box and everything. But having two kids, I buy a decent amount of games, but there are ones that I rather not buy. And there's some games that they want to buy with their allowance, but it's like versus buying that game, they're better off just going with Game Pass or having it so we can all play the same game. I only have to buy. Well, I do game share with them, so it doesn't really affect as far as the buying multiple copies or anything like that. But there are just things that's like, oh, they wanted to get Human Fall Flat, and I was like, I don't really feel like buying this $20 game after buying a whole bunch of other games prior. But sure enough, it wound up in Game Pass. I was like, oh, bet it's already there. So it's a great value. It's easy to deal with. I mean, most of the games, like just looking at what I was going to spend on, even though I bought the ultimate copy or ultimate edition of Forza Horizon 4, and I bought the deluxe copy of State of Decay 2. I mean, for what you spend on that, if there's one other game that I was going to buy that year, Game Pass is already pretty much paid for itself at that point. So it's definitely up there. But I lean more towards the X because that's just looking at what it was like. I mean, games look great on the regular Xbox, but looking at it on the X and on a 4K TV, it gives you the warm fuzzy feeling of what you would expect to see, kind of like on a decent PC, without having to spend PC money. So I'm happy with that.
Cool. All right. You know what? I completely forgot about that. That would probably usurp what I just said about the Game Pass, honestly, as far as what they're able to do mid-gen with that X. So we're gonna move on to you, Gaming Forte. So would you agree with that, man? Or what would you think their biggest achievement thus far would be? Game Pass, or you got another idea?
Oh man, no, he threw a monkey wrench in it with the X because I'm looking right at that. I have two X's in my house, and so that probably would be the most impactful thing, because going back and looking at some of the games that haven't had the 4K or any type of X1 X enhanced treatment is very, very hard to look at now. But if I want to just keep it to the feature set, Game Pass, I will say, is the most influential thing they have. They could become the biggest thing that they have in their staple. There's a lot of things that they did this generation when it comes to game gifting. That's what allows Mooch to stay Mooch.
Yes, sir.
And they also have Play Anywhere, which I know some people aren't a fan of. But my biggest thing for Microsoft is the fact that I think options this generation is the number one feature that they've had. They have given people the option to do whatever you want to do with your system. You want to go out and get that $500 system that makes your gaming experience a way better thing, you can do that. And you still will be able to play all the same games as everybody else. You want to play on that ultra high-end PC, you can do that. That is the number one thing that Microsoft has done that I feel like is turning the tide. And if they continue to keep doing that, along with the iterations they can make to the games that people keep saying that Microsoft has no games, well, that's going to change in the next 3 to 4 years.
Oh yeah.
And if they keep up this mantra of options and the ability to be able to play your games the way you want to play them, I know some people are going to be down like on the option of using a streaming service or streaming system on their thing, but guess what? It's also an option. I'll never probably go with that option as my main source of gaming. I will always go with the physical appearance of a system with a collection of games by my side to play with. but Microsoft has done a really good job in catering to the fans ever since 2013. And you know what? Sony pushed them there, and that's what competition is. And the fact that we got things like EA Access on our system, that's a feature that the Xbox has that I still can't believe that Sony doesn't have on their system. That could change in the future. But as of right now, Microsoft has shown the ability to go out and show its patrons that this is what system you want to have because of all the things we can give you on that system.
Good point. Good point. I know how the fuck you supposed to follow up on that, Mooch, but good luck, brother.
Oh, I'm ready. Listen, I'm ready.
Go ahead.
You know, Game Pass is not gonna be something I think that is remembered for this generation. I think basically Game Pass is set in beta right now. Shout out to UK Dazarus who asked a great question in chat. He said, "Would there be Game Pass if there was no back compat?" The thing is more than 50% of the games in Game Pass are 360 games. So I think with time and not much more time, less and less games will be back compat games in there, and it'll be more relevant games that are, like the Dooms and the Fallouts and more relevant to this generation bleeding into next. So I think Game Pass is really going to be a staple for next generation. I think that Fuzzy was spot on when he was saying that the X is really what's going to be Microsoft's claim to fame from this generation, if you want to even give it that actual title. Because Microsoft, about, whatever it was, 2-3 years ago, they basically gave up on this generation and started to work towards conquering next generation. And they've done that by revitalizing faith in people with the hardware and the X, acquiring these new companies, of course, Ninja Theory, et cetera, that we talked about. And I think that they're going to really dominate with things like Game Pass and the Cloud Scarlet console that's going to be coming out next generation as well. So to answer your question, PTK, no, I don't think Game Pass is going to be their claim to fame for this. I think we are all in beta right now for this to see what's going on. They're testing the waters. They're seeing which of their affiliates, in the sense of not affiliates, pardon me, but more of their business partners are willing to do business with them. They definitely can see that Bethesda wants to do business with them. But as Craps mentioned on other shows, and I agree, EA is not going to be doing anything with them. Others that have their own streaming service would be ridiculous to do it, right? It would be ridiculous for them to do business with them when they have their own. So you're really going to be limited there. And then what's going to happen is the reason Microsoft needs to pick up third party or AAA, AA studios is they need to keep their version of Netflix gaming and Game Pass relevant with either episodic episodes of games that come out like the Telltale series-esque type games, or just simple games like Ori's. Those types of platformers and jump games need to come out all the time. So every month, 2 months in Game Pass, you feel like you are a part of something that's worthy of your $10. The other thing that we should talk about, we should think about, not really talk about because there's not a lot of substance, is right now it's somewhat enticing for everybody to jump in at $9.99. As much as $9.99 is a great price, I've said this a number of times, I'll say it again, it's also a dangerous price, because it flirts already with $12, $13, $14, and $15 a month, which it's only going to go up. Yes, it's going to have sales. Yes, they're going to have these times of the year you should jump on it. But if you're not paying attention or you don't feel like buying in advance and you're like, well, I'll just do it month to month, this could very easily in the next 2 years go from $10 to $14 to $15 a month. And all of a sudden, is it still worth it to you at that price? Now things are starting to escalate. It depends on how their deals go with third-party vendors, etc. But I mean, so to answer your question in short, PTK, I think Game Pass is a great move for Microsoft. I think it puts them on the map. It gave them the power to be recognized this generation, but to say that it's really this generation's claim to fame, I'd have to go with Fuzzy and say that the X will be what they'll go down for in memory in a positive light.
Let me ask you something real quick, Booch. Do you think that Game Pass can ever get to the point where you feel like you could just subscribe and forget it like we do Netflix?
Do I think it's something you can subscribe and forget about?
Or do you think we'll ever get to that point? Because I don't. Right now, I think people are literally month to month thinking about it all the time. Is the game's worth it right now? Right. But in the future, do you think it will ever get to that point where you just subscribe and you just kind of forget that you even subscribe to it, and you just always have access to it?
I always, people call it Netflix. I call Game Pass the gym membership. Right.
Oh,
so you better. So you pay for your gym membership. You go for the first 2 months. You're like, this is a hell of a place. This place is great. They even give me a free bottle of water when I'm sweating too much. And then all of a sudden, you don't go back for the next 16 months. And they're like, well, did you cancel? You're like, nah, I really didn't want to have to do the whole face-to-face with the guy at the counter. You know, it's not worth it for $9 a month, $10 a month. So you forget about it. I do think eventually that's what's going to happen. And Microsoft wants that to happen. They want that to happen.
Yeah, no, that's
because it happens, right? It happens with Netflix all the time. I only have Netflix. I know everybody in the world loves Netflix. Well, guess what? Mooch doesn't. I have it. I've had it. And I don't ever cancel it because I'm still waiting for what? Daredevil season 3. Like, hurry the F up. Right? I'm waiting for these like 3 things to come out on Netflix. Stranger Things, right? So every March and every October, Mooch loves Netflix for a week. Yay. But at the same time, I don't cancel it because for $9.99, like when they got Thor Ragnarok, like almost day one, they get these other movies day one, and I can just watch them at my leisure on any device, my phone, etc., tablet, Xbox, you fill in the blank. It's not worth me canceling it. And that's the way I feel with Game Pass. I feel like Game Pass may get those AA games like Vermintide 2 that went in there. That was like a surprise, right? You know, it's almost comical, but the Xbox guys were promoting Graveyard Keeper going in there, which is an awful little indie game. But you know what? Who knows? Maybe that floats people's boats. You know what I mean? It depends on what kind of gamer you are. So maybe you'll hold on to that $9.99 subscription Forte, just because, you know what, you're like, I wonder what I'll get next month, right? They keep you on the edge of your seat. I wonder what next month will be. So
yeah, I can see it. I can see that being the case with the Game Pass.
Yeah, that's a good bring up right there.
So Zucker, it's on you, brother. Last but not least, Zucker, what do you think about Game Pass? You think that's signature? You agree with the guys as far as the XP and the actual, like, you know, feathering Xbox cap this generation?
I actually think that there's 2 things that are defining Xbox this generation for me. The 2 biggest exclusives are Game Pass and Play Anywhere. I use Play Anywhere every single day. My friends use it. And then not to mention that my friends that do use it, they don't have an Xbox. They subscribe to Game Pass. There's 7 of them that have PCs. And they're on Game Pass for Sea of Thieves, Gears of War. Like, they just think like, man, this is actually a really good deal, to the point that it's enticing them to get an Xbox to play the rest of the games. So it's not only like just hitting that market, it's hitting a market that Xbox didn't even know they were going to hit. They even said that like a lot of people are buying more games with Game Pass. And I think that, you know, I've said this before. I said this yesterday. I said this last week. You know, losing this generation was probably the worst generation for Xbox to lose. And because of the digital library that people built up on PlayStation. So not only does this completely negate the library concern for new fans to come into Xbox, it actually gives them a bigger library than they probably have on PlayStation because of the games you're going to get. Like, I'm playing Doom right now. I played Warhammer. I played Zombie Army Trilogy. I played Sea of Thieves like crazy. I mean, the value is just there. It's just hitting us in the face. And it's hitting a lot of people in the face because of how great the service is. And not to mention, it runs pretty damn smooth. The only way Xbox can combat what PlayStation and everybody else is doing is handle your strengths. And their strengths are software. That's their strength. And
where's the price point? Where does the price point lose you, though? What if this goes to $15 a month? Are you still in?
To be honest with you, yeah, because of how much games I played through it, how many games I've gotten.
That's when I would leave.
Well, I know that's when you would leave, but that you're talking years from now. I don't think that's going to change.
I think you're talking 2 years from now. It's going to be $12.99.
The only thing that makes a Netflix more expensive to $13, $14 if you want to stream 4K and HDR. Yeah, that's the only thing that makes it. Other than that, it's $9.99. We're getting already 4K.
Yeah, but it was $7.99 just 2 years ago, so it's gone up. And it's going to go up again. Netflix will go up in about 2 years. My point being is that there will be a point.
Netflix is going crazy though, right? They're in debt. They're just going crazy and building all this content, and a lot of it is like they have like how many billions of dollars in content that they invested in, and they're still in debt, but they're still profitable to some extent,
right?
And that's what they're managing it.
But the
Xbox
problem
is doing it a little different.
They are. They have this is all in-house money for them. So I get that. But my whole thing that I think is something that people don't really bring up with Game Pass is, like you said, with your friends that are PC gamers. But they're going to go buy these games anyway. And you heard Forte say it. You heard other people say it. And I know Crap has Game Pass. I have Game Pass. And then we end up buying the first-party games anyway. So what ends up happening is at an eventual period of time, if this stays $9.99, then my whole point here, it doesn't hold water. But if this thing goes to $12.99, $13.99, $14.99 over the next few years, and you're still buying the games, at some point you're going to go, you know what? I really don't care that they gave me Doom 3 years later. I'm going to go ahead and just buy the games like I am and save the $185 a year.
Well, the thing I'm saying to you is that I don't think they're going to change the price until, at least, if they do change it, until next gen, mid next gen, because they need to combat against what Sony has.
I think they should do what you're saying. Yes, I hope they do that.
Next year they're bringing we don't know this, but next year people are saying that the stream box is going to come out, right? Like that is the $99 $10 a month price really entices people to get the $150 stream box and then pay $10 to get all
the
these
stream
games.
box. The stream box doesn't affect. That has nothing to do with Game Pass because you'll not be able to download those games to your stream box. It'll be a streaming device. That'll be a rent only. So that stream box has nothing to do with Game Pass.
Well, what I'm saying is I think that you're going to be able to stream Game Pass games. I don't think you're just going to be able to download them. I mean, what if somebody gets a stream box? What are they going to do?
Well, we won't be able to do that.
Well, we don't know the technology, right? Like,
well, crap. You have. We had this discussion a couple of weeks ago on Crossfire. Yeah. That's not going to happen. When you go get the Xbox or the Scarlet, from the writings that we've heard from Brad Sams, is that that's like PS Now. You'll be paying $2.99, $3.99 a game to stream the game, or $5. That's not because you have Game Pass. You can stream those games. It's a completely separate cost.
I would say if they don't allow people to stream Game Pass games, then they're missing another opportunity.
They're not
to kill it. Like, to be honest, if they don't, well, I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all. I didn't know that was. I thought that was part of the reason why they have.
And Zucker, just so you know, I was in your camp as well, and then we kind of went over it. And from what Brad Sams was releasing and what we were talking, that it wouldn't make sense. Think about it, because if they're going to give you the $99 cloud box, right? They want you to stream the games. The entire presence and business model behind Game Pass is you download the game, you have it on your console. You can't do that with the cloud box. So it's two separate entities, two separate businesses. You know what I mean? In business models, it's just all Microsoft Xbox, but yeah, it's a different animal.
So this is like, so what I'm trying to say is this like 100% confirmed that you're not going to be able to stream like
crap? What kind of percentage would you put on it?
On what?
He's saying if you went and bought the Xbox Scarlet Cloud box, that you'd be able to play your Game Pass games on them.
I think probably a high percentage. Well, no,
you can't download it.
It does.
Game Pass. Yeah.
Crap's not. He's not catching on what I'm saying here. Yeah. No.
You can only stream it. No. I get what you're saying.
Remember, Brad Sam says you'd have to. That's separate. I thought, because we had this huge. It was a huge discussion on Crossfire about 2 weeks ago, and what Zucker. I was with him. I thought the same thing. I was like, well, I'll have my Game Pass, and I'll be able to utilize my Game Pass games on my Xbox Cloud box. But that's not the way it works. It's going to be a rent. You'll have to rent the service off of the cloud box.
Yeah, I think that's how they're going to have to do it. I don't think they're going to be able to, since you won't be able to download it all, since there's not going to be any kind of components in there. It's just streaming.
It's so streaming.
They might do a version of that, though.
The way I saw the streaming, the way honestly I pictured it, and the way they described it, is this streaming box and streaming in general is going to combat PlayStation and Nintendo, because you could go on the go with Nintendo. So if you buy a game for $59.99 on your X, let's say your local hardware. Yes. And this is coming from somebody like, I actually have I'm a developer. I have a tech background. So if you have something that you can download on your local hardware, that's probably going to be the best thing it looks, right? Because you have it on your local hardware.
Absolutely.
But the stream box, let's say you buy Gears of War for $59.99 and you have it look like on your streaming box or whatever, you can take your streaming box anywhere around the house, or you could take it to your phone, right? You could stream onto your phone. You could, if you have that game, you can stream it. So it doesn't make sense for them not to be able to put that on Game Pass. Because if you can stream Gears of War in every game you buy, then you can stream games that are on Game Pass, because you don't need to locally download them.
And that was my argument. But the thing about it is remember, they're kind of saying, hey, we're giving you this $99 box hypothetically. But the reason it's $99 is you're going to pay us $3 every time you want to play a game.
No, the reason why it's $99 is because the input lag and the latency is not going to be as great as having the local hardware, and the game is not going to look as good. That's the difference, right? Like, if you look at if you stream on Netflix compared to a 4K Blu-ray player, that you see the difference. That's why you're paying. It's an entry level for.
I know what you're saying. I don't think they're going to do that. I'm with you, and I think that's consumer friendly. I don't think so. I think when you buy that, they're trying to say that you are literally a casual gamer. and you will buy. Maybe you can buy the game too. You could probably buy a game, or if you own the game, maybe you could play. I don't think so. I think it's really going to be like PS Now, but for Xbox.
No, I highly doubt it's going to be like because if it's like PS Now, you don't need a stream thing. You could just stream it on anything else, right? So that's the whole.
Yeah, but right now you have to go buy like an Xbox. You won't for $400. You'll be able to buy a $99 one and do it cheaper.
Well, you can play on your PC and your Xbox with Game Pass. And
you got to remember something. Except for the people that watch these podcasts, most people don't have. They don't have like superior rigs.
Oh, and that's the target they're trying to hit, right? With this stream, it's people that can't even afford an Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's the point, and that's why I think like if they're going to charge you $99 and then charge you $299 every time to play a game, that's a fail. They're not going to bring that out.
So what's the difference between what you're saying then? If what you're saying is right, then they can just have an Xbox One S be $99 next generation too, because that'll do it too.
Because the point,
and it'll look better, and I can stream on it.
Because the point of the streaming box is that it's not going to be as big as an S. It's going to be like a stick.
It's not going to
like honestly, it's going to be like the Fire Stick. No, honestly, that's what if they're talking about you streaming on your phone, Mooch. Like, what are you gonna? They're
still calling it a box, so it's at least going to be the size of an external hard drive.
It'll probably be like an Apple TV or something.
But then again, like an
Apple TV or something.
Or an Apple TV, but you know what I mean. Like that, you're still not going to pay $2. And then even on Apple TV, you're not paying $2.99 for everything. You're buying the movies.
So the question is, which one of these is going to release first? Do you think they're going to release at the same time, or
same time?
No, I think
the streaming box is coming first. I think the streaming box will be next year.
I think the stream box is coming next year, so they get new fans.
Ready. No, it's not ready at all.
It's not ready.
No,
yeah.
No. You guys are. You gotta understand something. Everything you guys just said is the most ambitious pro-consumer thing that has ever been written by like anyone who's ever purchased anything. It's like this box is gonna do everything your other box is gonna do for $99, and everything you own, you can take it, you put it in your pocket, you can play it on the bus, you play it with your friend's house, you play it on the roof. Like guys, it's not, and it's gonna be ready in like 8 days. No, it's not.
It isn't.
It's not.
They don't even. They just now formed that whole division.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Not.
Like it's. I think it's going to take.
Well, the thing is, I think
that division's been around, man. Like the Azure server, their servers, everything. Like Amazon and Microsoft.
I get that, but to get it to where they're trying to run this, where there's like ultra low latency and things like that, I think that's still a work in progress.
I think it's a work in progress, but I think they hit something for them to even talk about it. They didn't have something in the works, man.
Yeah,
he talked about streaming and at E3 on the biggest stage.
They talked about that in 2013 as well, where they were able to stream Halo 4, but it wasn't where they needed it to be or whatever. So I think, and I don't even think they're going to talk about that so much at E3. I think it'll be when it does come out, something they do at GDC or something like that. It's not geared for us.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's geared for us, but I will say that, Mooch, you're saying that. You said weeks ago that you think Microsoft, the reason why the media is not hating on them because they're not giving them ammo.
Right.
Microsoft has really been very consumer friendly. And you're saying this is the most consumer friendly thing we'll ever see. No, to me, the most consumer friendly we ever saw was when you buy one digital copy, you get it for your PC and your Xbox. Like, do you know how many PC gamers, like including me, who is a PC gamer, freaking were like, what the hell's happening? Like, what? You got to pay it for once and you get 2 copies? Like, do you know how big that was? The biggest consumer friendly thing to me they've done. And
you've just said it more now in the past 30 seconds than anybody in the gaming media has mentioned it in years.
I know, and that I don't understand why. But
I understand why. But that's my whole thing. My whole thing is just that, like, I think what you're thinking that box is going to be is just it's for the extreme casual, which is I think it'll do very well. I'm not saying it's not going to do well. It's going to do very well. But it's not. It's because it's going to the extreme casual who is going to buy or rent a game once or twice. I don't think they're going to allow us to play all the games we own on that at just a lower resolution. I don't think that's what that's intended for.
I think it is. I think that if it's for the extreme casual, if it's
we'll find out in 2 years.
We'll find out, right?
We'll definitely see. This is Mooch somehow got me to do a goddamn 2-hour show. Swear to God.
Told you.
He did, man. He warned everybody.
Oh my God.
It's so funny because I even told my wife, I said, I said PTK usually does an hour show, but he don't know.
As he's sipping his coffee, walking away.
PTK's like, damn, he's like in the middle of this podcast. He was on mute. He had to cancel his dinner reservations.
I know, right? Tell me about it. I had to call Uber Eats instead, man.
Yeah, and you must have had Mooch on this week.
I know.
Right.
Anyway, but we gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up, guys. Man, it was a great time today.
It was a good
everybody
show.
for coming out, man. We had a lot to talk about. I'm gonna let everybody here on the panel just one by one. Let everybody know where they're gonna find you at. We'll start with the albino rhino, the superstar of the podcast.
Yeah,
The only
that's me,
person here
man. I
with
was
a
like,
verified
damn,
Twitter account. Got the
Johnny
blue check
Podcast.
next to your name.
Johnny
Oh, yeah.
Podcast. Yeah, you know, I was like, damn, Mooch is getting into it on this whole damn topic. You know what I mean? It's like 10 o'clock. God, yeah, you know,
crap. Me and you know what we just did? We did a Kramer Newman.
I know.
You were Kramer, and I'm Newman. I'm like, so I call up, and you're like, I don't remember that, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Crap, this is your story. This is a Kramer Newman moment.
Well, yeah, I lost my train of thought for a second when you're like, oh, do you think you'll be able to stream the game? And I'm
That
like,
happens
oh,
to Johnny Podcast.
Yeah, it
once
does.
in a
Like
while.
Johnny Podcast can drop. You know, I haven't had my M&Ms are gone. I'm looking for.
Looking for replacements.
I am, man. It's bad if I don't got my sugar. You know, I gotta have it. But yeah, Crap Gamer Reviews is where you can find me. I appreciate you guys having me on the show. It was a good time. I'll be happy to come back anytime. Make sure you guys hit that like button and stuff like that. I appreciate the chance to come out here and do a good show. Thank you guys very much.
All right, Fuzzy, it's on you, brother. Let everybody know where they can find you, man.
You can find me on Xbox Live, Fuzzy Space Belvedere. You can find me on Twitter and on PlayStation Network at Fuzzy_Belvedere. Usually playing Forza or just about any other game on that's been Xbox One X enhanced.
For sure. And then for Gaming Forte, let everybody know where they can find you too, brother.
Yo, awesome show as always, brother. As usual, you can find me at gaming_forte, always dropping those Destiny videos talking about Xbox. You also can get me on Twitter at gaming_forte. And it feels really nice to finally be able to put, you know, not a voice, but just actually be in the same room with two other people that I really look up to and actually like listening to on a day-to-day basis. You guys have great content, and I definitely want you guys to keep it up, and we will always keep listening.
I just want to. I have one quick question. Did you get a follow from Crap after you said that? Did you get your notification?
Honestly, Crap has been following me for about a good 2 months now. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Look, touche. Okay, I'm sorry. Crap. I'm sorry.
Hey now.
I had to pull teeth to get Mooch. You know, Mooch is on. We got his Twitter on lockdown.
Yes, sir.
I had to literally follow like 7 different times. Like, god damn, Mooch.
Yeah, my Twitter is also known as Shawshank. Yes.
Go ahead and let everybody know they can find you, Mooch, man.
Yeah, man. At Mooch 1978, or you've got the Mooch 78 on YouTube. Always good to be here. Love having the conversation. I love a good debate. You know, I don't like going. You listen to shows. I think everybody in the audience enjoyed it too. Everyone's saying great show, great show. If you don't have a good discussion or debate or two sides of a coin to talk about, you know, and everyone's just like, hey, what do you think about that? I think it sounds good. Me too. I'll see you guys later. All right, that's cool. Like, that's not really what people tune in for. So it's good to have a good debate. It's healthy. And, the good news is somebody's always right. Somebody's always wrong. But Mooch is usually right. And that's why we sell T-shirts to say that. But that's all right. But it is what it is. No, PTK, always good to hang out with you. Love all the guys on the panel. You guys are all hardcore. You guys always support us, and we'll support you guys. And I look forward to the next time you invite me, brother.
For sure. Zalker, man, it's up on you, man.
What's up, everybody? Yeah, it's a great night, great talking. Everything, debates were great, and people, you can learn something for this. Me and Mooch had a little bit of a debate at the end, but we respected each other. It wasn't toxic.
Amen.
It was great. It was a great discussion.
That's what it's all about. Great.
Fuck you,
great. Yeah. I'm not flipping my desk over here getting mad at what are you talking about? No, it's just it was a great time. You can find me at Shocked87 on Twitter, and then my YouTube channel. I'm new to the community, like I say, but I'm not new to gaming. So you can find me at Zalker87, ZALKER87. I have some content videos out there. Put one up today. Go on and check it out. And yeah, great show, PTK. Mooch, Crap, thanks for coming on, guys. Everybody was great. Fuzzy, you're awesome, buddy.
Awesome. And last but not least, your boy PTK BLAM here. You know, you can find me everywhere. It's Twitter, Xbox Live at PTK BLAM. If you guys enjoyed the show, once again, please like and subscribe. Follow all of these gentlemen. I will make sure I leave some information down in the description. That way you guys have a nice link to click to their Twitters, YouTube channels, whatever the case may be. Thank you guys for coming out, rocking out with your boy. We will be here once again next Saturday, same time, same goddamn place, guys. All right, so hit us up. Follow me on Twitter. Like I said, Xbox Live if you guys want to play some video games. PTK Blam there as well. So we'll catch you guys next Saturday. Peace out. Take it easy, everybody. We're out of here.
Have a great night, y'all.
Later.